Hi, everybody. Full house. So this is a first in my career. There's many things I've done, but I've never had the former head of MI5 open for me. So thank you, Lord Parker, for coming. Strange bedfellows, these decks. So let's see if the slides are working. I don't normally do PowerPoints or Keynote or whatever these newfangled technologies are, so we'll see if we can get them working. Well, thank you all for coming. This used to be the center of the world about 200 years ago. And actually, there's so much history in this square mile. King Henry VIII, I think, was either born or died here, but I'll just go with it. The Tudors used to have their castle somewhere around here. And this was the epicenter of naval technology, and as mentioned by Minister Osborne, that was the most sophisticated organization of the 19th century, which allowed the British to have an empire. It's also where GMT came from. You guys know GMT, 0, 1, 2, and so we have a time-based product. We called it Midnight, and we said, hey, it'd be kind of clever to rent this place. And gosh, it is just beautiful, isn't it? I'm so proud that we were able to bring everybody together. Thank you for coming. Okay, so there's some gobbledygook here. It says like, privacy accelerates into the main, I didn't write this slide. Privacy accelerates in the mainstream. The Midnight Network is a radical shift, breaking free from something, something. I'll show you the slide I wrote. That a little better? Yeah. Okay, so we've been on a 6-year journey. Y'all know where Midnight began? Anybody want to guess? We're at Eurocrypt, a cryptography conference, and we were shit-faced drunk. And we said, you know, none of these crypto people, they don't know how to do privacy. We know how to do privacy. It's super easy. Let's go do privacy. It'll take like a year, maybe 2 years, 3 years tops. Yeah, it's going to be great. 6 fucking years later, okay, we're here. We got her done. It wouldn't be an I.O. schedule if it didn't take a little longer. But, you know, good things take their time. So a few years back, what we were talking about was building something that was like the ultimate preservation of you. I love blockchain because it's all about trust. It's all about data being there forever. It's immutable, it's time-stamped, it's auditable, and once you have it, you can build high-trust institutions, high-trust money, high-trust voting. You can build high-trust DAOs, all these types of things. But the problem with that paradigm is you don't want to reveal everything about you forever to everyone everywhere. You want to start from a position of privacy and selectively disclose as you see fit, how you see fit, when and where you see fit to the people that you think are necessary to do commerce with. And actually, if you have that paradigm, it's surprising how many different people you can bring together. You can bring together the DeFi degens, you can bring together the weirdo privacy people, you can bring together nation states, intelligence agencies, you can bring together voting systems, big banks, because no matter who you are, everybody has something that they don't feel comfortable telling everybody else. And you all should be in the driver's seat about that, not some person you've never met, some place you've never been, or you have absolutely no idea how it's going to be used, who's going to use it, or what the consequences are going to be. So we built Midnight as an ecosystem that really focused on giving you that power. The challenge with Midnight is it's the most complicated thing we've ever done, because we had to figure out how to build a cryptocurrency that you could distribute to everybody and be equally useful to the traditional finance people as it is to the Web3 people. We had to figure out how to make a cryptocurrency where you could pay in any token. We had to figure out how to make a cryptocurrency that uses the most sophisticated privacy technology on the planet, but it works on a cell phone and it's fast. It's a lot. So what we did is said if we had to build all of this ourselves, it would be the year 2035, and we'd still be building it, and, you know, we'd missed the window. So what we did instead is we did something very different, very new. We borrowed technology where it made sense, and we innovated where we couldn't borrow. So Midnight is not a Cardano project. Midnight is not a Polkadot project. Midnight is not an Aptos project. Midnight is not a Zcash product. It's a combination of all of the above. We took Hilo 2 from Zcash. We talked to the Aptos people, and we talked to the Concordium people. We borrowed Jolteon, the Polkadot people. We got Substrate from there. There's an enormous amount of stuff we got from the Cardano ecosystem. There are more than 24 cryptocurrencies represented in the code base of Midnight and the papers of Midnight. So there's a little something from everyone everywhere. And what's really cool about that is when you borrow, then suddenly you're friends with everybody. You can talk to people. You can bring the teams. You can interact with them. That's really the magic of Midnight, is it's bringing people together. The 3 pillars, as Fahmi mentioned, this idea of rational privacy, okay. Identity, okay. But cooperation was really the key, because that means you can build an ecosystem with millions of people, and you don't have to steal users. All the time, you have these blockchains that launch, and they say, you know what? We're going to spend all this money, and somehow the Ethereum users are going to move on over to our chain, or the Bitcoin users are going to move over to our chain, or X, Y, and Z. And you have some ecosystems that have literally spent billions of dollars based on that thesis. And you know what happened? They didn't move, because people are sticky. Find like a 75-year-old grandmother with her feature phone and try to convince her to update to a smartphone. Once people stick to their technology, they don't want to move. And so don't tell them to move. Give them something that feels like an extension of what they already have. Let them pay in the tokens they already have. Let them use it as if it's an extension, a layer 2 to everyone. That's it. Simple premise. So we did that with the Glacier drop, and we did that with this concept of hybrid apps and all these other things. And now we stand at a precipice. Midnight, it's been cooking in the oven. We're 6 years pregnant. That baby's got to come out, and it's going to be a little ugly. It's been in the oven too long. So let's talk about how we're going to ship it. All right. So I was born in Hawaii. Some of you may know that. So technically, I'm a native Hawaiian. Technically. And I know I was born there. My grandfather delivered me. So I said, it would be really cool if we had launch dates and a roadmap kind of named like Hawaiian stuff. All right, so Hilo. That's the beginning of Midnight. It's 4 stages, 4 gating conditions. The very first thing is you got to get that token out. That's the very first thing. So Hilo is about what you guys have done going to reality and actually being able to trade it on actual exchanges. You guys actually receiving it, fucking around with it in the wallet, and complaining about something, because you always complain about something. So the night launch on the smart contracts on Cardano, that's the very first stage. You may have noticed that this stage has already been happening. Smart contracts have been built. They've minted the Night token as a Cardano native asset. Y'all are participating in the scavenger hunt. You're doing the Glacier drop, all of these things. And then when it turns on, the tokens start thawing day by day, week by week, month by month. So you need to open it up and let people just kind of turn the network on. And what you do is you always do this in a systematic and safe way. So Cardano is the most secure network I know of. I'm not just saying that because I built it. I'm saying that because it's been running for 8 years, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's never gone down. It's never hacked. It's a damn tank with weird formal methods and Haskell and all this other stuff. So if I'm launching a token, it probably makes sense that as it's turning on, it turns on a network that doesn't go down. It turns on the network that doesn't have any experimental new technology. It's reliable, and it turns on a network that's already listed on 200+ exchanges, from Binance to Coinbase and everything else. So it's easy for them to list that. It's easy to get liquidity. That's your starting point. So this phase will last a little bit. And then we have Kūkolu, another one of those nice Hawaiian words. And that's when all you builders who have been on the test net, who have been doing amazing work and amazing things and really pushing the limits of what privacy can do, can turn on your dApps. So there's a theme here. You start somewhere safe, and then you leave port, and it starts getting a little riskier and riskier. You start getting more things. So you launch Kūkolu. And this is going to be the federated mainnet. Just like when we launched Byron, we had Byron then to Shelley. And that'll happen in Q1 of 2026. So in Cardano, we had like a 10-year roadmap. With Midnight, we get to shrink it significantly, okay? So you had this lovely thing, the tokens launched, you started trading, people are like, wow, Midnight's a real thing. And then suddenly, shasha, you have all these dApps go live. And we'll have all these cool announcements and more liquidity and more partners and all this other stuff. But you say, but Charles, I really, really, really want to run the infrastructure. Charles, like, where do the stake pools come on in? And Charles, like, who's going to actually like make blocks in these things if it launches federated? Well, just like we did with the incentivized testnet, we'll have an incentivized mainnet for Midnight. And in Q2, we have Mahalu. And this is where the SPOs come on in. We turn on the capacity exchange. We turn on a lot of these features. And we let the Cardano SPO start making blocks gradually. And instead of it taking years and years like it did with Cardano, it's a quarter-by-quarter thing. You start safe with liquidity. Then you get a federated mainnet. You turn on all the dApps. If any of them are weird and disturbing and the network breaks, you don't lose your liquidity because it's on a safe network. And then once you're pretty confident that that federated mainnet's working, then you have a parallel companion network that you run to test out the new algorithms, like Jolteon, super fast algorithm. In the lab, 5,000 TPS, sub-second block times. Those Aptos people are onto something. They're really smart fellows. And you get to test it, run it, fork it. And once we're ready, then you go to the last one. UA. And that's in Q3, 2026. And what that does is it launches the fully decentralized network, all the bridging infrastructure between Cardano and Midnight, recursive trustless bridge, and also it turns on all the interoperability between the other blockchain ecosystems. Remember, I kept saying, if you're an Ethereum user, you can use it. If you're a Solana user, you can use it. You're a Bitcoin user, you can use it. This is the era where that stuff starts turning on. This is the era where the hybrid dApp starts becoming a thing. The hybrid dApp, meaning you're Uniswap and you want some privacy. So you use the tools to write them, you pay an Ether, and somehow it feels like you're on Ethereum, but you're actually on Midnight. You're Binance, and you're sitting here thinking to yourself, you know, it'd be nice to have like anonymous withdrawals from Binance are travel rule compliant. How do we do that? This is the era where that actually happens for any of the exchanges and dApps and DeFi applications that want to participate. And so the thing about it is that you have to do things in a manner where everybody has the ability to take a breath, and everybody has an ability to learn the tools, everybody has an ability to do stuff. We saw that with the Glacier drop, 3 months to do the airdrop. In the first few weeks, it was a nightmare. Then it got better. Then it got better. We learned, they learned, ledger support was added, all this stuff, because that's the nature of crypto. You can wait 2 years for it to be perfect, or you could have it now and there's some rough edges. So this is a compromise between safety and speed. You start with something easy, launching a token, then you go to something a little bit concerning, a mainnet, where you can break stuff and it has all the privacy features and you're running smart contracts, and then you turn the mainnet over in stages to operators, and then by the end of all of it, you have a full cryptocurrency. And instead of it taking 10 years, like it did with Cardano, it will all be ready to go Q3 of 2026. That is speed, that's learning. It's pretty fun. And boy, it took us a long time to decide how to do this. We had to put so many pieces together. We had to have so many meetings about it. We had to think carefully about these things. The other thing is we had to bring partners along for it. One of the things you're going to see tomorrow and in Fahmi's closing keynote is just how many people are interested in this technology and how many partners exist. Because they didn't start with us. They started trying to build something on Ethereum. They started trying to build something on Fabric. They started trying to build something on chain XYZ. It didn't really matter, or maybe even build their own chain. And they did it for a while, and then they ran into a wall, and they stopped, and they started over. And they did it for a while, and they ran into another wall, and they stopped, and they run over. So when they come to us, we're like the third or fourth or fifth choice. And they say, can you save us? We say, yes, we can. Because this is the first time ever where you get private smart contracts. But you also have public state, and you can use any other chain you want to augment this chain. So you can put all the pieces together. So you can take the stuff you've already built and you can blend it with the stuff we've built. And you know what? The odds are you've probably solved the problem. So there's more than 100 partners and hundreds of builders and a huge community that's already formed where they're fervently excited about this. And what's really cool is with the launch of Hilo, that dual token model, you get your night, you start accumulating that battery, so you get your dust, and then when you have Kūkolu, you now have a place to deploy all of it from the test net, and then we can test it in two environments, a federated and a decentralized environment at the same time. That's what Mahalu is about. And in UA, once you have that, then you're in a position where, guess what, you can take it to the entire cryptocurrency space. You do all of that in less than about 9-10 months. It's pretty impressive if you think about it. And as we bring all these partners along, the other really cool thing, and what was really meaningful to me, is that we didn't forget where we came from. Midnight is launching as a Cardano asset, which means as Midnight gets tier 1 listings, it's the first Cardano asset to do so. And that opens it up for every single other Cardano asset. And when Midnight needs to have bridges and oracles and stable coins, they have to work with Cardano too, go figure. And they'll charge extra, but we'll pay it because that's the Midnight way. Because we need to. This foundation's awesome. I love the Midnight Foundation. They're aggressive, they're hungry, they want to win. They want to make deals. They want to actually see the network grow. And there's a lot of cool things we talk about as we look at this launch roadmap. Like there's one initiative that we just started internally, and all of you will be members of it. We asked a very simple question. What are the KPIs of a blockchain ecosystem? Is it TVL? Is it transaction volume? Is it MAUs? Is it time to finality? I mean, there's hundreds of different ways you can look at and measure objectively, qualitatively, and quantitatively the health of a blockchain. Wouldn't it be nice, starting in January, we just publish a report and say, these are the KPIs, and you have a dashboard, and then every month or quarter or whatever your cadence of measurement happens to be, you get to see if they're going down or up. It's pretty simple, right? That's called transparency. That's actually like not even selective disclosure, that's proper disclosure. Well, guess what? Midnight's going to do that. It's going to embrace a KPI-driven way of doing things. There's every single person that's part of all the organizations, whether it be SHIELD or the MF, they have KPIs, and they care about the growth of the system, the youth of the system. They want Midnight to be the most used cryptocurrency on the planet. They want it to process all of the private transactions for all of the networks, for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, for Solana, for Cardano. We don't discriminate. And we can measure that. We can look at that. It's the first time I built something where we've been building the layer 2 and the layer 1 at the same time. And on the layer 2 side, we've been getting amazing experiments, but we thought carefully about how do you build a technology so that we can use Microsoft's backend and Google's backend. You may have noticed that Google Cloud came in and said, we'd like to be part of this. Why? Because if Midnight works, all those billions and billions of dollars of computers that they have can be used to run the proofs. It's money for them. And it's the same for all these Fortune 10, Fortune 15 companies. That's what cooperation is about. It's about having a seat at the table for everybody. It's about measuring such things, and it's about everybody agreeing on a strategy for how do we push forward. So there's a lot of really cool governance innovations. You know, another thing that's really cool is that DAOs, they don't work right now. And the reason they don't work is because they're all public. That means anybody who works for them, all your dirty laundry, your money you've been paid, your HR dirty laundry, all this stuff has to be out in the open. And that doesn't really work in modern business. So wouldn't it be nice to have a private DAO, which has a public side and a private side? It's like a business, like a proper business, right? Well, that's the thing, is Midnight under the hood is going to be the single biggest governance revolution for the entire blockchain space. We say, should you run the Ethereum DAOs on Ethereum? Or should you run them on Midnight? You run them on Midnight, you have private voting. You run on Midnight, you have provability about everything. You run on Midnight, you have privacy to the participants and the discourse. And it's the same for Solana, it's the same for Cardano, it's the same for all these other places. And when you really think about it, there's not a damn thing you can't find in modern business where it doesn't run better on midnight. You start from someplace you know, like Cardano, and you add a little midnight magic, and you know what happens? You have perfection. That's why we built it, that's why we think about it, and that's why we're releasing it. So it's been 6 long years. And I'm so incredibly proud that all of you came together with us. Just to give you some statistics, I asked Bob to look into this, and the scavenger hunt alone, with all the mining participation, replicated the first 2.5 years of mining work of the Bitcoin network in just 21 days. That's what we expect it to be. 700 plus days of mining on Bitcoin in 20 days. Think about that. That's pretty remarkable. The amount of energy, the amount of enthusiasm, the amount of excitement. It's the largest airdrop in history. It's the largest distribution in history. It's millions of people across the world, across 8 different ecosystems, 7 blockchains, and they all came together and said, we'll give it a shot. Not a single VC was involved. Not a single Ponzi scheme happened. Not a single token was sold. It was given away to you. You all had right of first refusal. That was a fair distribution. It was the way Satoshi did it, and it's the way we did it. Because we know when it's in your hands, you'll care about it. And if you care about it, you're going to keep it alive. You're going to build on it. You're going to make it work. And then you're going to give it to everybody else. There are countless thousands of creative, incredibly fun, and special experiences that can and will be built on this platform for everyone, everywhere. And the fact that we can bring this to bear and add governance to it, add identity to it, and have an adult conversation about how these things should work in the 21st century, where everybody has a seat at the table, is a pretty special thing. The world right now is sick. It's unhealthy. Everybody hates each other. There's no trust anymore. The institutions are crumbling apart. There's so much cynicism. The press, we hate them, they hate us. Every time they hear something, their first thought is skepticism and cynicism. The first time you see something is skepticism and cynicism. And that, frankly speaking, is because the institutions lost the right to lead. Because they don't have any objective reality at their core anymore, and you don't understand the incentives. So the blockchain space, we created this industry to restore that. But you can't have a stool that's missing legs and expect it to stay true when you sit on it. You need identity and you need privacy for that stool to last. So what Satoshi gave us is good money. What Ethereum gave us was programmability. What Cardano gave us is the 3rd generation of interoperability and good governance. And we learned how to do scalability. And boy, that's going to be fun with Hydra and Leos. And what Midnight gives us is our identity and privacy back. So thank you all so much for being part of this revolution. Thank you all so much for being here at this lovely place. Thank you for making the scavenger hunt and the glacier drop the largest airdrop in the history of our industry. And next month, thank you all for being night holders. Here's to the future, everyone. Cheers.